What's good, sports bettors? Welcome to Rude Talk, presented by Rude Bets. This is our inaugural first episode of the show, and I hope you're excited because I really am. What we're going to be doing here is we're going to be breaking down some of our favorite games today, some home run heroes, and some underdog stories. If you enjoy this type of content, I would love for you to subscribe and join us on the long run here as we dive into my simulator to break down what we think is going to happen today and help everybody make a lot of money. So without further ado, let's get right into the show. So as I mentioned, we're going to have three segments on today's episode. The first one being game breakdown. We're going to break down three different games across the MLB slate today on Sunday, April 14th. And in those breakdowns, we're going to look at winners. We're going to look at Yerfy and Nerfy. We're going to look at some player props. And after that, we're going to jump right into our home run heroes. This is our top 4 home run picks for today based on the Rude Bets simulator. And finally, we're going to end the episode with the daily dog, the dog of the day. We're going to look at the best underdog play today on the money line on today's MLB slate. I look forward to jumping into this with you. So let's go ahead and let's jump into our first game breakdown of the day. The Texas Rangers versus the Houston Astros. So this is going to be the Battle of Texas. We've already seen this series once this year. This is the second time around already in early April. And I think we got some great action today across the board if you're looking to take some action on a game. So as we jump into the simulator here, let me zoom in a little bit so it's a little bit easier for everyone to see. We're going to notice a few things. So let's just start right at the top. We got the Rangers away, Houston Astros at home, and we are projecting a score of 4.86 to 4.01, which if you look at what the probabilities of this simulation would be, it's that the Texas Rangers have a 54% chance to win with implied odds of minus 119 at that win probability. We're also looking at a first 5 of 2.47 to 1.91, so first 5 also going to the Rangers, and a Yerfy probability for each team being 29% for the Rangers and 36% chance for the Astros, which comes out to being about a 54% total chance for Yerfy in this game. So if you're a Nerfy bettor, I would probably stay away from this game. Total runs scored, looking at about 8.93, so about 9 runs across the game today. In our home run ballpark factor, which incorporates weather, incorporates conditions in the air, it is about a 2% boost over league average. So there's good home run weather and I guess situation here today in Houston. Excuse me. So looking at the pitching matchup, we have Nathan Eovaldi versus Christian Javier. Eovaldi last year had an outstanding year. He's not known for giving up many home runs. We're projecting him to only give up about a half a home run today. So it's unlikely that he gives up a home run to these Astros today in his little over 5 innings that we're projecting him to pitch. In those 5 innings, we're projecting him to get about 4 strikeouts. I like to round down, so we can say 3 here, so nothing special. And to give up about 4 hits and 2 walks, 16 outs across 21 batters. So, moving on to Javier, we're looking at about, once again, a little over 5 innings pitched, about 4 strikeouts, about 4 hits, 2 walks, 22 batters faced, 16 outs, and about 0.75 home runs allowed. So, it's safe to say we could potentially see him giving up a home run today. Across the teams, we're expecting the Astros to hit about 1 home run between either the bullpen or the starter, and then the Rangers against the Astros are supposed to hit about 1 home run as well across the bullpen and the starters. So, as we jump into some of the player lines here, you're going to see the batting order. So far, we only have a projected lineup. Nothing is confirmed yet. It is only 9 in the morning here, Central Time, so don't expect these lineups to come out for at least a couple hours. But based on the projected lineup, we're going to work off of that. One thing that jumps off the page to me right away is Corey Seager. He's batting .337 versus right-handed pitchers, projecting about 1.46 hits with a 41% probability for a home run at 5 at-bats. This also means we are projecting him to have about 2.78 total bases across those 1.46 hits, about 1 RBI, not really a great chance at scoring a run, but his HRR about 2.94, so almost 3 HRR here. We do anticipate that he probably won't strike out, although he has been striking out a lot lately, so you could round this one up to at least 1 strikeout, and he probably will not walk. So Corey Seager looks like a great play today against Christian Javier. Moving down the list, another person that jumps out to me is Wyatt Langford, batting .292 versus the right-handed pitcher. We expect him to get a hit and get on base, as well as Evan Carter, batting .330 against right-handed pitchers. I would not be surprised if when the actual lineup comes out, Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford switch spots in the projected lineup. So I could see Evan Carter being 3rd here today, which would only boost his value. And I do think that Evan Carter is another great play today for hits or even HRR. Moving on to the Astros. Right away, another guy that jumps off the page, Jose Altuve, 336 versus right-handed pitchers, projected about 5 at-bats in the leadoff spot today, 1.47 projected hits, 25% home run probability, a 2.87 HRR, and 2.5 total bases. Another beast. His lines are always really high, so it's kind of hard to take him unless you're looking to put him into a parlay or into a daily fantasy slip like you see right here. Chalkboard is one I use if you want to use that. You can sign up using code RUDE for a 100% deposit match. Outside of that, Yainer Diaz with a 310 batting average versus right-handed pitchers, and Yainer Diaz also has really good splits when it comes to day games, so he could be another great option if you're looking for someone for a hit slip. And then lastly, Yordan Alvarez, always a beast, always a threat for hitting home runs, although I don't think Eovaldi will be giving up any home runs today. If you're looking to take someone on the Astros for a home run, it would be Yordan as your man. So that is the game breakdown for game number 1. We're now going to go ahead and hop into game number 2, which is the Brewers versus the Orioles. All right, this is another great one. This is hits close to home for me, as I am a Brewers fan and a former Milwaukee resident. Let's jump into it. This game is huge. This game is huge for the Orioles. The Brewers have absolutely stomped on the Orioles in the first 2 games of this series. And now the Orioles are rolling out what was the move of the offseason in Corbin Burnes to pitch against his former team in the Milwaukee Brewers. This game, you might be surprised that the simulation is a lot closer than the line is when you look at it on your books. And part of that is the fact that the Brewers are the highest scoring team in baseball as of April 14th. And yes, I will say that again. The Brewers are the highest scoring team in baseball, something I thought I would never say coming into this season at any point of the year. I don't even care if it's only April 14th. I never thought I would say that this year. Anyways, they've been absolutely raking. They're at the top of the leaderboards in runs scored, home runs hit. They are just absolutely dominating on offense. But today, I think their luck changes going up against their former ace and Cy Young winner in Corbin Burnes. I do have the Baltimore Orioles only with a 52% chance to win, but I really do like the Orioles to take this one. Just not at whatever the line is right now, which I think is about minus 189 for the Orioles. I would probably stay clear of that, but there are some good looks within this game. First of all, Yurfie Nerfy, about a 50-50 chance, as expected. I wouldn't touch it, nothing there. That being said, I do think that first 5 for the Orioles is probably a really, really good play here today because Corbin Burnes is probably going to shut down these Milwaukee Brewers. One thing you'll notice right off the bat, the projected lineup still has Christian Yelich in it. I don't think Yelich is going to play today. He, in game 1 of the series, felt a little bit of tightness in his back, and as a precautionary measure, decided to come out of the game, and I don't know that he'll be back again yet today. He did say he needed at least a day off, which he got yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the rest of the series off and does not come in today to face Corbin Burnes. So if he's out, that just only further pushes the Orioles into the favorite category. But outside of that, as we look at the Brewers lineup, I personally don't think there's much to touch. Going up against a guy like Corbin Burnes, they'll get a couple hits. Corbin is known to give up a home run every once in a while. I just don't see it being today against this Brewers offense. That being said, when we move down to the Orioles, they have a great matchup. They have a great matchup against a pitcher in Colin Ray, who has been giving up home runs at a really high clip in his career. And is a guy who's extremely inconsistent. He can come out and have a really good matchup, and he can come out and get hit around like crazy. Today, I do think it's going to be him getting hit around like crazy. First guy off the page that jumps out to me is Gunnar Henderson. Gunnar Henderson has been hitting the ball with incredible exit velocity this year when he makes contact with it. That's what I said, when he makes contact with it, because he's also been striking out a lot. But I do think that today Gunnar Henderson has a great opportunity for getting on base, hitting home runs, logging total bases, hitting the gaps. He's going to be crushing the ball off of Colin Ray today, in my opinion. He's just the perfect matchup for Gunnar Henderson to go against in a game today. So I really do like Gunnar Henderson a lot. Another guy that jumps off the page to me is Ryan O'Hearn, batting .296 versus right-handed pitchers. I like Ryan O'Hearn over 0.5 hits, so I do like him getting a hit today. Outside of that, there's not too much in terms of a hit probability perspective. As you can see, I like to round down. We only have one person on the page in Ryan O'Hearn who is projected over 1 hit. Everybody else is projected under. That being said, Colin Ray is not going to throw a 1-hit game today. These guys will likely get on base and start to rake. Another guy who might be a sneaky play today is for Jackson Holliday if he starts to get his first hit. I do think he is going to do so, and Colin Ray is his easiest matchup that he has faced yet since being a pro, and he should be able to find some confidence against a guy like Colin Ray. All right. That is breakdown number 2. So let's hop into the third and final game breakdown of the day. We have the San Francisco Giants versus the Tampa Bay Rays. So this is another game that I think has a lot of potential for some good value. So right off the bat, we have the Giants with a projected score of about 5-3-ish, about 5-3 as you see there. But what's really intriguing about this game is that the line is pretty much a pick'em. Giants -108, Rays -105. I here have the Giants with a 59% win probability, which is implied odds of -144. So there's some great value based on my simulations for taking Giants money line today. So this, in my opinion, is a great play for the money line. Once again, Yurfy Nerfy, 54-45, so not much there. But what's interesting about this game is something you don't see too often, is we do have the Rays taking the first 5, being up about 1-0 in the first 5, and then the Giants being able to take over and win the game outright. We have a great pitching matchup here for the Giants with Blake Snell being on the mound. I know his first outing was not too stellar, but it's Blake Snell. The guy can go crazy at any moment, and we do have him projected today to get 8 strikeouts on only 3 hits. Walks will be his issue. If he can limit those, I think he has a great day. On the other side, Sean Armstrong, not really projecting too much from him, maybe 2 innings out of him today. I think today is more of a bullpen platoon day for the Rays, which is why I think that the Giants will be able to prevail because the Rays bullpen this year has not been the best. We have them projected to give up almost 5 runs out of the bullpen across those 8 and 7 innings that they would be pitching per my projections. But as we look into the player props here today, a couple things that I like to look at here is Lamonte Wade, Michael Conforto, both over a hit projected. Same with Jorge Soler. Even Jorge Soler has a 32% home run probability. Now, if this was a left-handed pitcher, I'd probably take Jorge immediately. Sean Armstrong is a right-handed pitcher, but he could still get and attack the bullpen for a home run today. Jorge Soler and Michael Conforto also look great from an HRR perspective. And moving down, Yandy Diaz, Harold Ramirez, both obviously crush the ball against left-handed pitchers. This is Blake Snell, so it is a little bit different. But if anybody's going to get at Blake Snell today to get on base, it's going to be one of these 2 guys. Projected both over a hit, both projected over 2 HRR. So if somebody's going to score on the Rays today, I do like it being either Yandy or Harold Ramirez, depending on how Blake Snell is dealing. So yeah. That right there, folks, is our game breakdowns for the day. I hope you enjoyed that. But now we're going to be moving into my favorite segment of the day, the home run heroes. All right, folks. So, jumping into the first home run hero of the day, we've got Corey Seager. And what the home run hero segment is about is these are the 4 best players, in my opinion, to hit a home run. So if you're looking at making a home run lay, trying to, go from 0 to hero, these are the guys that I like to get the job done. So, Corey Seager is number 1 on my list, going up against Christian Javier. Christian Javier has not given up a home run yet this year, but in 25 out of 31 games last year he did, and Corey Seager is an absolute stud who is due for a home run. I have Corey Seager with a 41% probability to go yard today, which is extremely high. That gives me an implied odds of +142, whereas the book has Corey Seager at 290. So great value there if you want to take Corey Seager or throw him into your home run parlay. Our second home run hero of the day, we have Fernando Tatis going up against James Paxton, who's given up a home run in 18 out of 19 games last year. 37% chance here today for Fernando Tatis. He got into one last night, doubled, was really the only production for the Padres last night offensively, and I think today he's going to have the opportunity to actually go yard off of James Paxton with that 30% probability, which is an implied odds of +173 and a book odds of +400. So immense value there for a guy who mashes baseballs in Fernando Tatis. I love him today on the slate. Number 3, we have Austin Riley going up against Jesus Luzardo. Jesus Luzardo was really solid last year for the Marlins. Looked like he could be the guy. But this year he's already allowed 4 home runs. And the Braves, if any team's going to hit a home run off of you, it's the Braves. There's a lot of guys you can pick from the Braves today. Marcell Ozuna. You can even look at Ronald Acuna if you ever think he's going to heat up. But in my opinion today, Austin Riley is the man. We also have him at a 37% probability to go yard. This is an implied odds of 173, and the book has him at 380. And the last home run hero of the day is the man Gunnar Henderson that we mentioned earlier, going up against the meatball thrower Colin Ray himself. We have a 33% probability to go yard for Gunnar Henderson. Last year, Colin Ray gave up 23 home runs in 22 starts, so it's almost certain that he's going to give up a home run today. The implied odds for Gunnar Henderson is 201 per my 33% probability, and the book odds is 300. So there is also some significant value there. If you wanted to lay all these guys together, you're looking at plus 33,000 or 1 unit to win 330. So let's get it. And for our last segment of the day, we have our dog of the day. We have our dog of the day, which is the best underdog play on the money line that we see across the slate. And today, for me, that is the Cleveland Guardians versus the New York Yankees. You can get this one at plus 125 still, and I have them with a 55% probability to win this game outright. The reason I really like this game is 2 things. 1, so the home run ballpark factor, there's actually a boost in home runs, and Nestor Cortes gives up more home runs than Logan Allen does. And as we've seen, the Guardians have been great at matching the ball this year so far between Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Bo Naylor, Steven Kwan even. They've been raking. Secondly, the thing that I like about this matchup for the Guardians is both teams really struggle to hit the ball against the left-handed pitcher. The Guardians just struggle a little bit less. So I do think that there's another advantage there. And the third advantage that I see in this game for the Cleveland Guardians is that their bullpen allows less runs than the Yankees bullpen. So if this one is a close game after Logan Allen and Nestor Cortes leave the game, I do think that the Guardians bullpen is a bit more sound to get the job done than the Yankees bullpen is based on the numbers this year so far. So for the dog of the day, we're rolling with the Cleveland Guardians. And let me know if you do too. All right, folks, that's going to be all for this episode. As I mentioned, this is just the first episode, and we're going to be incorporating new segments into each episode as we move on with the series. Please do send in your questions, comments, suggestions in the comment section, and we'll likely try to get in a little mailbag segment that goes as well, that goes over some of the questions, concerns, or comments about the MLB this year. So we're really looking forward to having you all watching the show. I'm really excited to produce it. And if you want to come check out more and get access to these simulators, you can head right here to rudebets.com. That is where I post all of the data that I used for this segment, and I look forward to seeing you there. Have a great Sunday, everybody.